Hi there, this video is all about content aware move. You make a selection, you drag it around, you can resize it and reshape it and hit return. It removes the original and my little friend here is blended nicely. It almost works that easily. Let me show you my tips and tricks to get the most out of content aware move. All right, to get started, let's go to 05 cropping, aligning, distorting. So that's the folder and open up these two images, content aware move 1 and 2. Thank you Floris and Bart. We're going with Bart. What it's good for is making selections, moving it around, deciding what kind of size it is and what angle it is, clicking return, and it tries to blend it. The cool thing about it is that it removes where it was. So in this example here, I'm showing off. So it's like the patch tool, except if I do this one here, I move it, I get to rotate it, I get to make it look like there's more than these birds. So hit return, and it gets a bit better, or even better. I want to remove the dotted lines. I don't want to get rid of them, I just want to hide them. So remember Command H on my keyboard or Control H on a PC. They're still there, but it means see this structure and color. I can actually adjust these afterwards. So if they don't match or look nice, can you see it's kind of moving it around a little bit? So structure is kind of like how much it moved. Think of it as the kind of moving of the contrast areas, like you do a selection. Often the problem is, or the issue is the color and how it blends. So you can kind of work your way through after you've moved it and rotated it to try and get it to blend. This one works perfectly nice because I picked an example that has a very similar sky. Command H to turn my little selection back on, deselect. If you leave that off forever and a day, you'll be trying to select things and nothing will be appearing. If your transform's not appearing, turn it on there. And if it's still broken, it's probably because it's on extend. So go back to move. All right, let's do one more and we'll just show you that you can use any selection tool. I'm just using the rectangle marquee tool. Now go to my content aware move it over here, rotate it around, scale it down. It doesn't even need, I'm gonna hit return. It's moved it there, perfect. I'm gonna hit Command H to get rid of the selection around it, and I don't need to do any adjustments here for this structure and color. All right, back on Command H, Command D to deselect or Control D. The one thing we should do though, to go a little bit more pro, is when you are grabbing this, or before you actually do it, so I'm gonna deselect, I'm gonna make a new layer. There's an option that says sample all layers. Lots of the features allow us to do that, where I can go move him over here, rotate him, select him, turn. I don't need to adjust these because it blends in nicely, but he's on his own layer. There he is. Hello, handsome man. All right, I don't want to leave you half-cocked running around going, oh, content aware move works perfect. I find it works some of the time. I'm gonna guess a number, like it works as good as that, like 30%, maybe even 20% of the time. Often I'm hating on content aware move, but the nice thing about it is it's really quick and easy to test. Okay, so all you do is do a selection around it and just see if it works. Rotating, selecting in, hit enter. You can see did a bad job, but now I can play around with structure and color. I think structure is the kind of mask that goes around the outside. That's a better way of explaining it, Dan. And color is the blending modes. Okay, so you can fit around with this and get it. Like I find I struggle a lot with it. Hey, got it. And if I hit deselect now, you'll see that it's okay. You can see there's some weird stuff going on. So what would I do if I had to do this and content aware move's not working? So there's not a good way to get it to work. If it doesn't work and you can't use those adjustments, we're kind of stuck. What I like to do in this particular situation, probably the easiest thing is to actually, unless lazy marquee tool, just copy and paste it. It's on its own layer and just move it around, rotate it, scale it, and then a blending mode. And in this case, which one's gonna work? Darken, you can still see the edges there. Okay, but remember our shortcut, be on the move tool, hold shift down and then tap the plus key. Just kind of work your way through until you're like, oh yeah, darken colors. There's kind of a red glow around it, which I can fix. Is there any better ones? Darker color is the one, and to get rid of that red glow, I'm just gonna go to adjustments. I'm gonna go to hue and saturation. I could just make it black and white, but I want the blue that's left in the bird. So I'm gonna say reds, I want to be desaturated, but only that layer, please. Is it quicker, longer? It works, and that's the way I'd do it. We've done this before, so I'm gonna go fast. I'm gonna show you another way that I would do it if that didn't work or it wasn't black and white. Go to my background layer. I want you, my friend. I'm gonna copy and paste him. He's on his own layer. I'm gonna transform him and flip him. Now I want to do a selection. I'm just going to do a channel mask. I'm going to turn these other layers off to make my channel mask a little less complicated. I'll zoom in on this guy. This has nothing to do with content aware move now, but you'll find times where content aware move is close to working, but just doesn't give you the result. You're gonna have to go out and do something like this. So instead of a channel mask, while we're in here, we'll do quick selection mask. We'll give it a go. I know it works because I've tested. Okay, so I've got the basics in here. I'm gonna add a layer mask with the mask selected. I'm gonna go to select the mask. I'm gonna look at it against black, and then probably bump up the radius, and then maybe shift the edge in a bit. Click OK, turn everything else back on. Right click this, disable mask. There's a bit of fullness that I lost because I was going a little bit too fast with the quick selection tool, or at least the selector mask. So the radius didn't give me what I needed. I'm gonna undo that, do it again, be less lazy. Same thing, let's go decontaminate colors. Smooth it out a little bit as well. Let's click OK, that's a lot better. If that doesn't work for you, my next step would be the long version. You can kind of see how I start with like content aware move. It's the quickest, it's easy. It removes where it was originally and places it in a new spot, and you've got some adjustment. So that's the easiest. If that doesn't work, the blending mode worked nicely, but we had to kind of adjust it with our hue and saturation. Then the third option was a little bit longer again. So you just start at the easiest one and work your way along into the last one is I'm gonna delete this mask. I'm gonna just move this fellow over here. Grab this original guy, delete the mask, and do a channel mask. So just that layer on. Actually, the shortcut, Dan, come on. Do you remember what it was? You don't. Hold down the Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC and just click on one of the layers. Click it again, holding that same shortcut, turns them all off, except for the one you've got selected. So channel masks. Let's have a look. You can see here, we didn't do this during channel masks, but I do it all the time. See the shortcuts? It'll be Control 345 on a PC, but on a Mac. So I'm just going 345 on my keyboard, and I'm just looking at which has the most contrast. And it's clear the red does. So I'm gonna duplicate this channel. I'm gonna grab my levels by hitting Command L. You can go to image adjustments. Don't use the ones in here when you're doing a channel mask. And I'm just gonna crank up the whites, do something with these. It's looking good. Remember our cool little trick where we use the brush tool and we set it to overlay. And we can just kind of paint all that stuff out. You can get quite close to the edge without wrecking it. There was no need to go in that close, but you get the idea. So it's a longer method. Another trick is instead of clicking this to load the selection, you can just hold down the Command key and click on the thumbnail. That's a Control key on a PC. So I've got my selection. That little guy there is useless now. I've just used him to get the selection. I've turned RGB back on. Layers. At the moment it's inverted. I've got the opposite selected, so I'm going to undo. Invert the selection under Select, Invert. Okay, that was the long way. But it gives me a more kind of realistic, these guys have a kind of a jagged edge, so you can't judge my jagged edge here. I feel like the original, where is he? He had a jagged edge too. There he is there. It's his feathers. It's not my selection. All right, so content aware move works. I don't love it, like I love you content aware scale, but it can work. And if it doesn't, we tried the layer mode trick. Then we tried the quick selection with some select and mask action. And then we went to our big guns, channel masks. If any of those things are a bit quick for you or you haven't watched the previous tutorials, all of those things are explained in the select and mask section. Go check those out. But for now, let's move on.